On any given hour of your day, U.S. diplomats are on duty at embassies and consulates around the world, protecting American security. The Foreign Service is America's first line of defense. Our diplomats alert the President and Secretary of State to developments in foreign countries. They advise our leaders on what foreign governments are doing and what they might do. They convey U.S. policy objectives, persuade other countries to cooperate in solving problems, and they negotiate U.S. treaties and agreements.
An embassy is run by an ambassador who leads the country team. At a typical embassy, you'll find these State Department offices. You might also find other foreign affairs agencies and officials representing these agencies. So how do diplomats keep us safe?
An embassy's diplomatic security office is uniquely positioned to address criminal threats before they reach our shores. Take 2017, when Costa Rica asked for U.S. help with a suspicious modeling agency, luring children into posing, abusing them, then selling the photos and videos on the dark web. Victimized children are easy prey for transnational human traffickers operating in the U.S. Our diplomatic security agents worked for 2 years with Costa Rican and Mexican officials on this investigation. The perpetrators were eventually convicted and sentenced to long prison terms, and their international child pornography ring dismantled.
Diplomats also protect Americans from threats to our health and food, like the New World screwworm, an insect that attacks the flesh of mammals, especially livestock. The pest had been prevalent across the southern U.S. and Latin America, and in the late 1960s, the U.S. Department of Agriculture developed an eradication program. But that wasn't enough. A 1976 outbreak in Texas cost ranchers some $500 million in 2019 dollars, and the state's economy lost nearly $1.5 billion. We couldn't protect U.S. livestock at home without engaging overseas. Our diplomats convinced Latin American countries, notably Mexico and Panama, to adopt the sterile insect technique and rigorous inspections. The joint programs continue to this day, ensuring that local cattle are regularly inspected and screwworm-free, ultimately protecting American herds and our food supply.
U.S. diplomats also won cooperation from foreign countries to reduce the threat of international terrorism. Post-September 11th, a 2002 U.S. law mandated collection of passport and other information on everyone entering the U.S. on international flights. Our law enforcement and security agencies needed the information to prevent, detect, and investigate terrorism or related crimes. It wasn't easy. The U.S. had reciprocal visa-free travel agreements with several countries, many in Western Europe with stringent privacy laws. But our diplomats began their negotiations. And in 2003, the first agreement with the EU was signed. It has been renewed and expanded twice. We now have passenger name records for every person on every U.S. inbound flight.
Our diplomats are working for all Americans at U.S. embassies and consulates around the world, representing our interests and values, promoting our prosperity, keeping threats at bay, and all of us secure at home.
To learn more about what our diplomats do and why it matters, go to afsa.org.